lying. On what right?
Up! The Kingslayer!
Jaime. My name's Jaime.
At the end of Season 7, Jaime Lannister finally made the decision to break up with his longtime girlfriend, his sister, Cersei Lannister. The diabolical mother of madness has been vicariously living through her younger brothers since they were kids. Cersei used Jaime as an emotional pillar, feeding off of his status as an individual with power in a patriarchal society. Jaime's power is what Cersei has always craved, and for many years her own power was denied to her for one simple reason. She was a woman.
I should have been born a man. I'd rather face 1,000 swords than be shut up inside with this flock of frightened hens.
By the beginning of Season 7, Cersei has achieved the impossible. She became the first female ruler of Westeros. Her ascension to the Iron Throne left behind a bloody trail of footprints and also made one thing clear: she no longer needed her brother's name. Still, Cersei doesn't kill her brother after he decides to leave. Jaime plans to honor his pledge to fight with the North against the army of the dead, and Cersei considers this treason. But even after Jaime defies her, she can't bring herself to give the order. Her reluctance to kill Jaime means their relationship wasn't only about Jaime's status. Cersei holds genuine love for her brother, even after she's achieved absolute power. The taboo of brother and sister relationships isn't lost on modern or medieval society alike. The relationship between the Lannister twins has been the subject of jokes from both fans and characters in the show. The discovery of Joffrey Baratheon being the bastard son of Cersei and Jaime is what sparked the War of the Five Kings in the first place. As actress Lena Headey puts it, their relationship is fucked up.
The things I do for love.
But the toxicity of their relationship isn't just based in the incest, it's the over-reliance that they have on one another. Cersei Lannister has always believed that she was the true heir of Tywin Lannister in everything but name. Her status as a woman meant Tywin would never truly consider her as a successor, another case of Tywin punishing a child for something that they could not control. This form of sexism is prevalent throughout Westeros, so we can't put all the blame on Tywin. It's one of the ills of medieval society. When speaking to Sansa during the Battle of the Blackwater, Cersei says that she should have been born a man, saying she would rather face 1,000 swords than be cooped up with this flock of hens. In many ways, the patriarchal nature of Westerosi society could be seen as the catalyst for Cersei's descent into madness. It began with her marriage to Robert Baratheon, a man who saw Cersei as nothing more than a pawn in maintaining his crown. He married Cersei to secure the backing of House Lannister, the richest and most powerful house in all of the kingdoms. This is the fate of many highborn ladies in Westeros. Their only purpose is to secure alliances with other houses through marriage. Their fate is predetermined.
I have a son, you have a daughter. We'll join our houses.
While Cersei was initially infatuated with her husband, Robert never loved her, and at times abused and disregarded her entirely. It's actually quite clear that Robert hated Cersei. 17 years of marriage to a person who doesn't love you can turn one spiteful.
Was it ever possible for us? Was there ever a time, ever a moment?
No.
As for Jaime, one could make the case that he needed Cersei more than Cersei needed him. Ironically, their time away from each other allowed Cersei to achieve her ultimate goal. Jaime, on the other hand, has not. Being away from Cersei meant Jaime no longer had to please his cold-hearted sister. The distance allowed him to show glimpses of the man he always believed himself to be, but has not yet become. Most of Jaime's wrongdoings were out of love. He was blinded by Cersei's admiration and appreciation. It's easy to identify Jaime as a narcissist. He demonstrates an unforgiving lack of respect for anyone he doesn't love. The first time we see Jaime in the show, the smugness can hardly be contained by his helmet. He is the prototypical antagonistic Prince Charming, a man who was ripped out of the fantasy world of Shrek to be placed in the world of Westeros. Like Cersei, Jaime has been a victim of societal norms. At his core, Jaime is a very simple man. Since he was 17 years old, he's only ever strived to do two things: serve honorably as a member of the Kingsguard and be faithful to his sister. The irony of Jaime's ambition is that the harder he tries to maintain his honor, the less honorable he is perceived as being. No matter how disgusting it is to us, his faithfulness to Cersei demonstrates his own personal honor. He brags to Catelyn Stark in Season 2 on how he's never slept with another woman besides Cersei, which makes him more honorable than Ned Stark, a man who everyone believed had fathered a bastard son. The relationship between Jaime and Ned is fascinating in both show and book. On several occasions, Jaime tries to gain Ned Stark's favor to no avail.
A bit stale.
I don't fight in tournaments.
No? Getting a little old for it?
I don't fight in tournaments. Just when I fight a man for real. I don't act nor I can know.
Well said.
During this scene in Season 1, Jaime tells Ned about how he witnessed the death of both Ned's father and brother, both who were killed by the Mad King Aerys Targaryen. Jaime says that when he killed the Mad King, it felt like justice for Ned's father and brother, yet Ned cannot forgive Jaime for betraying his vows.
Is that what you tell yourself at night? You're a servant of justice. That you were avenging my father when you shoved your sword in Aerys Targaryen's back.
Ned Stark's stubbornness was actually one of his greatest weaknesses. He was so beholden to the ideas of oaths and vows that he couldn't even appreciate Jaime's deed. Not only was Ned wrong in condemning Jaime, but he made his judgment without hearing the full story. While he claims to not care about his public perception, Jaime confides in his father Tywin that the nickname Kingslayer does in fact bother him.
You spend too much time worrying about what other people think of you.
I could care less what anyone thinks of me.
You know, that's what you want people to think of you.
It's the truth.
Tywin tells Jaime that the lion should not concern himself with the opinion of sheep, but Jaime cannot shake it. He grew up idolizing men like Barristan Selmy and Arthur Dayne, two legendary sword fighters with world-renowned reputations as men of honor. Jaime Lannister himself was named the youngest member of the Kingsguard in Westerosi history, donning the white cloak at just 14 years of age. Barristan Selmy even says that a young Jaime was the most talented swordsman he had ever seen in his life. Yet Jaime's reputation is one of a backstabber who betrayed the king he was sworn to protect.
What about Aerys Targaryen? What did the Mad King say when you stabbed him in the back? I never asked. Did he call you a traitor? Did he plead for a reprieve?
He said the same thing he'd been saying for hours. Burn them all.
In Season 4, during Jaime's reunion with Joffrey, he is mocked by his bastard son for having no great deeds recorded in the Book of Brothers. Listening to Joffrey recite the deeds of previous members of the Kingsguard leaves Jaime a little shaken up. Jaime doesn't strive for glory in the sense of being a great lord or a conqueror. His ambition isn't for traditional power. His ego is fed by leaving behind an honorable legacy in the eyes of the people he was sworn to protect, and legacy is defined by those who record history.
Someone forgot to write down all your great deeds.
There's still time.
Jaime's single page in the Book of Brothers only recounts his betrayal of Aerys Targaryen, an act that will forever be remembered as dishonest and dishonorable. Only a select few know Jaime's betrayal of Aerys Targaryen for what it really was, the most honorable act ever committed by a member of the Kingsguard.
Burn them all!
Where's my sister?
What's so brilliant about Jaime's betrayal of Aerys is how it's hidden from the audience. Everything in Season 1 sets up Jaime to be a villain. His look, his swagger, the way he walks, and the freedom in which he talks down to those around him. Because of his devil-may-care attitude, Jaime being mocked as a Kingslayer is accepted and appreciated by viewers. Audience members were being manipulated into hating this character, which makes his mid-season turn that much more effective. Jaime's willingness to act on what he feels is right is more appreciated during his time with Brienne. Jaime gradually becomes more humbled after suffering the mutilation of losing his right hand. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Jaime remembers the murder of Aerys Targaryen in front of his reluctant traveling companion. He explains to Brienne the choice that he was forced to make: kill the king he was sworn to protect, or stand idly by as thousands of innocent people burned. He tells her that the Mad King commanded Jaime to bring him the head of Tywin Lannister, that Aerys was planning to burn King's Landing to the ground using wildfire. As a fly on the wall, we can judge Jaime's decision as a no-brainer. Oaths of loyalty become meaningless when the man you are serving forsakes his own vows. Jaime didn't betray Aerys. Aerys betrayed all of his subjects. But that's not how it was perceived. Moments after Jaime killed Aerys, Ned Stark and his army stormed the Red Keep to find Jaime sitting on the Iron Throne, with Aerys' bloody corpse sprawled across the floor. Jaime says that before he could explain what happened, Ned Stark judged him guilty.
If this is true, why didn't you tell anyone?
Tell me, if I stabbed the Mad King in the belly instead of the back, would you admire me more?
You served him well. When serving was safe.
Again, it goes back to Jaime's admiration for Ned. In the books, it's made clear that Jaime strives for Ned Stark's approval. Remember, at this time, Jaime is still a child in the books and a 21-year-old man in the show. The decision for Jaime to kill Aerys is as clear as night and day, yet Ned Stark cannot look past the paper oaths and artificial honor. The honorable decision was to kill Aerys, and Jaime made that decision without hesitation. Even his attempted murder of Bran is more complex than it seems on the surface. Yes, Bran is a child, but if Bran were to tell his father what he saw, Cersei would be executed. Jaime was forced to choose between the life of a child he barely knew and the love of his life, who also happens to be his sister. It wasn't as if he pushed Bran out of the window to save his sister the ignominy of their relationship being revealed. The decision wasn't about public shame, it was about life or death. The wedge that George R.R. Martin can drive in between a character's heart is chilling. Imagine yourself put in a position where you had to choose between the life of an innocent child and the woman you love. Now, I'm not justifying Jaime's decision to toss Bran out of the window. He is an attempted child murderer, yet it's another case of the societal fabrics of Westeros pulling Jaime in opposite directions. In no way is incest okay, but it was society's perception of their relationship that forced Jaime's hand. Jaime and Cersei being brother and sister and being romantically involved makes it much easier for the audience and for society to hate them. It's another scandal for people to whisper about behind Jaime's back. But should a woman be executed for sleeping with her brother? It's extremely disturbing, but should it be punishable by death? I mean, we all cheered when Daenerys and Jon had boat sex. Is it really harming anyone if a brother and a sister want to bone? Actually, they did spawn the son of Satan, so yeah, it did actively harm thousands of people. Another instance that made audiences hate Jaime was his attack on Ned Stark in the streets of King's Landing. The Lannisters are clearly set up as the villains early in the series, with the Starks being the heroes. Here we have the protagonist of Season 1, Ned Stark, facing off against one of the antagonists, Jaime Lannister. In hindsight, Jaime is actually in the right. Catelyn Stark falsely accused Tyrion Lannister of trying to murder her son Bran and had him arrested. Jaime's plan here is to capture Ned Stark in an attempt to free his brother Tyrion. Despite the hatred Tyrion received from Tywin and Cersei, Jaime has always loved his younger brother and was willing to risk his position as a member of the Kingsguard to save him.
You killed me. Your brother's a dead man.
You're right. Take him alive. Kill his men.
Now, if you spend any time watching our Game of Thrones videos, it's no secret that Jaime Lannister is my favorite character. Like many fans, I grew to love Jaime's character because I was amazed by his transformation. Actually, it's not really a transformation, it's more of an exploration. Jaime's arc consists of a deep dive into the inner workings of his mind. A presumably one-dimensional villain is laid bare in front of the audience. We explore his fears, his insecurities. We see him have moments of unfiltered vulnerability. The real transformation was the audience's perception of Jaime. We come to understand the decisions he's made, both good and bad, and it allowed us to appreciate this flawed character. In Season 8, I'm looking forward to Game of Thrones foregoing a traditional ending in favor of that bittersweet finish that was promised by George R.R. Martin. With so many prominent characters still alive in the final season, it's going to be interesting to see who gets the happy ending and whose story ends in tragedy. I think that's how Game of Thrones can truly capture that feeling of a bittersweet ending in the most satisfying way. And I'd like to see Jaime's story end in sacrifice, which can be viewed as a quasi-happy ending. If Jaime were to make a sacrifice that turns the tide of the Great War, giving the living a significant edge over the Night King's army, he will leave behind a legacy of heroism. He can immortalize himself in the annals of history by removing all derogatory connotation from his infamous nickname. What if the Kingslayer kills the Night King? Jaime was forced to sacrifice his honor when he killed the king he was sworn to protect. He sacrificed his reputation to save the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Jaime betrayed the man who was called Mad King, the king obsessed with burning his victims alive. The Mad King was the king of fire. Now in Season 8, if Jaime were to kill the Night King, the being who literally has control over the weather of winter, he would be killing the king of ice. But this time, instead of sacrificing his honor, Jaime would be sacrificing his life. The name Kingslayer would then take on an entirely new definition. The Kingslayer would be remembered as the legendary figure who destroyed the single biggest threat to Westerosi civilization. The death of the Night King doesn't necessarily mean the end of the Great War. Beric Dondarrion tells Jon in Season 7 that in order to destroy the Night King's army, they need to destroy the Night King himself. A discovery was made in Season 7 that if you destroy a specific White Walker, all of the whites that White Walker resurrected are also destroyed. Beric makes the case that destroying the Night King will effectively destroy all of the whites that he brought back to life, but Jon says it's not that simple, and I would tend to agree. We know that Jaime Lannister is equipped with the Valyrian steel sword Widow's Wail, the sword that once belonged to his son Joffrey, so he has the necessary weapon to kill the Night King. It would be a great moment if Jaime offered the sword back to House Stark in Season 8, since Widow's Wail was created by melting down ice, the ancestral sword of House Stark. In a moment of solidarity, Jon would allow Jaime to keep the sword, similar to Jorah allowing Jon to keep Longclaw. It would be a symbol of trust between House Stark and House Lannister, and Jon knows that Jaime is going to need it during the Battle of Winterfell. I've also seen theories that in order to kill the Night King, it won't be enough to kill him with either Valyrian steel or dragonglass. The theory is that in order to officially destroy the Night King, the dragonglass dagger that was shoved into his heart must be removed. The creation of the Night King differs from his fellow White Walkers. He was created by the magic used by the Children of the Forest, and then the other White Walkers were created by the Night King. He has shown time and time again that he possesses powers the other White Walkers may not have, so it would not be surprising if it took more than just Valyrian steel to destroy him. It would certainly be poetic if Jaime were to remove the dagger from the Night King's chest. He was mocked his entire life for stabbing Aerys Targaryen in the back. Now Jaime would be facing his enemy head-on. No one would be able to question his honor or courage then. I also like the theory that was presented by Aaron in our preview video, who will kill Cersei in Season 8. Without reiterating the Valonqar prophecy, because I'm pretty sure you are all familiar with it by now, Jaime Lannister is the prime candidate to kill Cersei in Season 8. The implications of this betrayal are what make it even more exciting. Aaron's theory is that after the Night King and his army defeat Jon and Daenerys at Winterfell, they will be forced to retreat all the way south to King's Landing. Cersei, being the Mad Queen that she is, will refuse to open the gates for their armies, leaving Jon and Daenerys to be destroyed by the Night King. Jaime will then be sent to negotiate with Cersei, and once he realizes that Cersei is too far gone, he will be forced to kill his sister to save the lives of millions. History repeating itself. His nickname would change from Kingslayer to Queenslayer. It would be a Romeo and Juliet type ending for the two siblings. Jaime has stated before that he and Cersei came into the world together, and that they will also leave together. Maybe the heartbreak of killing the love of his life will be too much for him to bear, and he decides to take his own life as punishment. In each scenario, he gains what he's been fighting for his entire life, the reputation of an honorable man. The irony being that he would have to sacrifice his own life to achieve it. He would be remembered in death as what he always wanted to be in life, the perfect bittersweet ending to the best character Game of Thrones has had to offer. But let's be honest, the true bittersweet nature of Season 8 is that we've been waiting for 2 years for the show to come back, and it's ending in 6 weeks. That's unfortunate. But that doesn't mean you still can't get lost in the world of Westeros. Our video today is being sponsored by Audible, which is home to the largest collection of audiobooks on the planet. The books that we are highlighting today, you guessed it, A Song of Ice and Fire novels, the books that Game of Thrones is based on. Everything you love about the show is expanded upon in the books. There are great characters that don't appear in the show. The books provide expanded backstories for side characters you've come to love. And there are entirely new plots that haven't even been mentioned on the show. So if you haven't read the books yet, we would highly recommend checking them out. We would also recommend Fire and Blood, the newest book by Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin. Fire and Blood explores the history of Daenerys Targaryen's ancestors and how they came to rule Westeros in the first place. Those Targaryens are absolutely insane, and you can imagine all the carnage they have caused during their 300-year reign. It's a really fun book to get lost in. And overall, Audible is a must for any and all book lovers. It's a product that I use all the time, and right now when you use our link, audible.com/nerdsoup, or you can text nerdsoup to 500-500, you will receive a free book, 2 Audible originals, and a 30-day trial. Audible members receive a free book credit each month, which is great. It's like rollover books. You'd be surprised how many times I look on my account and I'm like, oh, I get a free book this month. That's pretty awesome. Members will also get access to 2 Audible originals that you can't hear anywhere else. Additionally, members will receive access to audio fitness and health workouts that were created exclusively for Audible members. I always found listening to an audiobook to be extremely relaxing, but now you can get active while you listen. And really the best part of Audible is the convenience. You can listen on any device, anytime, anywhere. You can listen on your couch at home, at the gym while you are working out, or while you're taking a long road trip. And it's just not books. Audible is home to original audio shows, news programs, and comedy shows. There's a multitude of different genres that you can explore while using Audible. And remember, you can use our link, audible.com/nerdsoup, or text nerdsoup to 500 500 to get a free book, 2 Audible originals, and a 30-day trial.